All right, guys, in our focus lesson today for 311, we're going to be looking at different strategies and models for solving different kinds of percent problems, okay? And there's a lot of ways we can look at them, and we can use pictures, diagrams, tables, whatever we need to help us solve. So I'm going to look at 3 different ways to just think about this one problem, and we're going to try and figure out different ways to think about percent problems a little more deeply here, okay? So number 1, we've got a recent game. The Butler School basketball team took 23-point shots. They made 35% of the shots they took. How many 3-point shots did the team make? All right, so we're looking for how many 3-pointers did they make. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to draw a picture here of the 20 3-point shots they took. All right, so every circle here stands for a shot. So I did 5, 10, 15, 20 shots. Now I put a 5 in each one because I wanted to figure out the percentage that each shot counted for. Okay, so if I took 100 shots, 100% of my shots divided by 20, because I took 20 shots, that tells me those 20 shots are all worth 5%, right? Because 20 times 5 is 100. Every shot made there is worth 5%, right? So my job is to figure out how many 3-point shots did they make. Well, they tell me that 35%. They made 35% of the shots they took out of those 20. Okay, so I need to get this to add up to 35%. So they make this shot, that's 5%, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So I can say they were shooting 35%. They would make these 7 out of these 20. There's 20 shots. They only made 35%. And every shot is worth 5%. So 5, 7 times is 35%. So I can say that they made 7 shots because I know every shot is worth 5%. So just keep going until I get 70 or to 35%. Okay. Another way to think about this. What if I drew, instead of 20 shots, I did 10. So these are 10 shots. I made them in rectangles. And I did 10 here. Well, half, to get this out of 20, it would be 3.5 I'd have to shade out of 10. Because if I have 3.5 and 3.5, then I get 7 out of 20, which in this case would also equal 35%. So I could think out of 10, okay, everyone, they would make 3.5. Okay, and this kind of relates down to here. If I just made a table, I've got shots made to shots taken. I've got 35 shots made out of 100. Okay, because percent means out of 100. So I've made 35 out of 100, and I want to know, it says I made 23-point shots. So I want to get this 100 down to a 20, because I want it out of 20 shots, not out of 100. Okay, and this is the way I normally do it, because I know it's easy to get 100%, 100 shots down to 20 shots, because I can just divide by 5. So I just need to divide the percent by 5, and 35 divided by 5 is 7. So I'm making 7 shots out of every 20. That would be the same as 35%. So how many 3-point shots did the team make? 7 would be the answer we're looking for there. Okay, and again, I'm not going to write how I explained it. I explained it 3 different ways. Okay, 35% again up here. 35%, and I didn't explain it very well earlier, but 35% is 3.5 out of 10. Think about if I have 35% or 35 out of 100. Okay, if I divide those both by 10 to get it out of 10, because I went a picture out of 10, I would get 3.5 out of every 10 shots. Okay, so 3.5 out of every 10 is the same as 35 out of 100. So 3.5 out of 10 and another 3.5 out of your next 10 shots would equal 7 total. And if I counted those up, I'd have 7 total filled out. So they made 7 3-point shots, which is a pretty good percentage if you can shoot 35% from 3-point range. Okay. The next one, see how many total points did the team get from the 3-point shots? Okay, this one should be pretty self-explanatory. If they made 7 of them, and we know there were 3 points each, all we have to do is take it times 3. So 7 times 3 is 21 points. So they made 21 points and 3-pointers in that game. Question D, we're going to have as a practice problem here. coming up that you guys are going to talk about with your groups, and we'll discuss some more, and then you'll have another practice problem as well, where we're just trying to think of different ways to solve different percent problems and drawing them or tables and pictures and whatever we can do to make sense of it.